right, so what we're talking about today, folks, we're talking about your brand message, the content funnel, and creating shareable content. Now, Brian Smith's on the call. How you doing, Brian? Brian was actually at the event in Vegas that I spoke at on. I was with him in Las Vegas on Friday.
Yes, sir.
So some of the stuff, Brian, I'm gonna actually pick on you. There's an exercise that we did there that we're gonna do again today, and I know you've kind of already done it, so I'll pick on you.
Sure.
Okay, Aaron, you've done it with me as well. You did it. What day is today? Wednesday. You did it on Monday, so you'll be doing that a little bit as well. We're gonna be doing that towards the end. All right. Now I'm gonna share my screen here. Let's make sure it'll let me. Yes, it did. Atta boy, Jim. So all right, check it out. You guys should be able to see my screen now, right? And I'm gonna navigate around so you guys can see what's on the side here. Can you guys see that okay? Can you read it? Everything good? I can make it, I can zoom in if we need. All right, so guys, check it out. First thing we're talking about is your brand message, okay? Well, your brand message is composed of what Brand Builders Group calls your brand DNA. And I'm gonna need some help from you guys. If you came here to get preached at, this ain't church, all right? This is a conversation. It's a mastermind, and all of you are brilliant people, and I would love to hear from you, even if it's simply a question, okay? So there are three key components to your brand DNA. The one-word problem that you solve, all right? And I want to hear from you guys on that in just a minute. You need to have an expert bio, and you need to have a brand positioning statement that supports your bio, that also supports the one-word problem that you solve. It kind of explains it, right? So let me show you guys what that means moving backwards, all right? Here, for example, is my expert bio, all right? And I'll tell you guys right now, before I was working with Brand Builders Group and sought counsel on what a proper biography should look like for an executive like myself, or a thought leader like myself, I had a bio that was about 47 pages long, right? The one mistake we all make. We want to make sure that we tell everything that we ever did. I think I even told what my social studies grade was in the 3rd grade in my bio. You know what I mean? Like, it was a whole bunch of information that nobody read, right? And more importantly, they didn't care about. So we took that 14,000 page document that was called my bio, and we shrunk it down into what you see here. All right, it's a lot about me, but more importantly, it's what I do for others. Okay, now my brand positioning statement is this. It's what my podcast supports. It's what all my businesses supports, and it's what most of my keynote speeches and whatnot support. Breaking down the playbook of top performers so that you can get to that next level too. All right, I've been fortunate enough to hang out with some elite people, because everything that I've done in my life, before I moved on to the next stage, okay, first in sports. Okay, I played at a highly ranked professional level. Get about as close as you can get to making it to the big time. I was there. All right. Then in the hospitality industry, as a nightclub and restaurant owner, literally had spots right on Broadway. Some of them are still there today. I just don't own them anymore. We sold them. But is there any better place if you were going to open up a restaurant or a nightclub than on Broadway in Nashville, Tennessee? Okay, it's the Mecca. Okay, then in the insurance space, within a couple of years, we were the top agencies one of the top agencies in the country, and one of the fastest growing agencies in the country. We won national awards. We did it at an elite level. Okay, then we got into podcasting, right? Digital marketing, and that now is at an elite level. All right, so now I didn't do any of that by myself. Learned from others. I had the right proximity. I was a fly on the wall in the right room. Okay, that's half of it, guys, if not more than that. So that's my brand positioning statement. This is my bio. Now, the one-word problem that I solve is faith. Taking action. Okay, taking action. Why don't people take action? Because maybe they don't have the playbook. Maybe they don't have the proof. Maybe they're not inspired. This statement encapsulates all that, right? And then going back to my bio, this bio supports that, right? Now, This is where I want to hear from you guys. Brian did this exercise with me in Vegas. Aaron did it with me on Monday. So I'll call on those two guys first. But I'd love to hear from everybody. Okay, so I'm going to stop share for just a moment so I can see you all. What one word, Brian Smith, what one word problem do you solve?
I've been back and forth with it ever since you hit me with that. And I want to say purpose, and helping somebody find their purpose, and that's kind of what it's boiled down to.
Okay, purpose. That's good. We're going to talk about that further. And remember this. I mentioned this to Aaron on Monday. I was guilty of this for a long time. You know, I'm walking around town. I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing. I'm happy with where our businesses is. And you meet somebody you hadn't seen in a long time, and they're like, "What are you up to, man? What are you doing for a living these days?" And you don't have that quick 30-second answer at the tip of your tongue. You're like, "Well," and you have to think about it. And then you're like, "Well, I do this, and I kind of do that, and on Thursdays I do that." But like, you're not like, it's not precise. It's not like right there. Who are you and what do you do? Bang, 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 done, right? So the people that are the most successful in life are very clear about that simple thing. You know what I mean? So when I asked Aaron that on Monday, that was the same thing. I was like, well, that's a really good question. I haven't really like been very clear about that. And I'm like, well, if I'm not clear on it and you're not clear on it, who else could be clear on it? Right? And that's probably a reason that you're not helping them. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, Brian, your one word problem again. You said, what was it again?
Purpose.
Purpose. All right. Now, how does your brand positioning statement maybe support that? Do you have a brand positioning statement or a draft of it yet?
No.
No?
I just literally last night was working on my expert bio. Perfect. While I was at soccer practice to put it together last night. And I had yours pulled up next to it. So thank you for the demo.
All right, cool. Let's move to Aaron then. Let's see what Aaron's been working on. All right, Mr. Hines, you ready, baby? What one word problem do you solve?
Confidence.
Confidence. All right, confidence. Now, through your brand positioning statement, how do you express that?
Giving the individual I work with confidence to achieve things greater, more than they thought were possible. I know that's not specific, but I don't have that dialed in yet. Working on it.
That's close. So now it would be like, well, through what industry, right? How do you do that? With what? You know what I mean? So with mine, I'm breaking down the playbook of top performers. I'm very specific as to what I'm doing, right? And for who. I'm breaking down the playbook of top performers so you can get to that next level too. See, it addresses exactly what I'm doing and who it's for. Makes sense? So I know Miss Jill, I know you're under the weather a little bit, but I'd like to hear from you a little bit. So like, I know what your one word problem is because you're from the same insurance carrier we are. But let's see what you got. Let's see if you're using it. What's your one word problem, Jill?
Yeah, success. That's my problem. Well,
you went a different route. You went a different route because everybody else at USHA says hope.
Yeah.
All right. So all right. So cool. Success. How do you create success for others? And with what?
Well, that's my problem. I feel like I'm failing miserably at this point, to be perfectly honest. I have battled through this, pardon my dog, for about 8 years. And right now I'm at a really low point with the insurance. So I'm sitting here thinking, do I need to regroup and do something else? Now, my something else in the past was music. That I used to be a professional drummer. So that was my thing when I was young, but I'm not young anymore. And I do believe that biblically I have a lot that I can give to people. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Where do I go?
Well, let me tell you a secret. So first of all, my son, I love it when he says this. He says, "Dad, Do you try to get a glass of water or do you just go get one?
Very good.
So quit trying and do it. You said it's been 8 years you've been struggling with that. Think about what
Yeah.
that you just said. If you
Well,
had a child that said, "Mom, I've been struggling with this for 8 years," what would your advice be to them?
what can you do differently to stop struggling?
I would
How
be
are
like,
you going to overcome?
what else is there to do today if you don't know exactly who you help and how you help them? There's really nothing else to do until we've established that. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, you're just kind of walking off into the blind, I guess.
That's right.
So you got to get very clear about who it is that you help and how, right? Because once you've established that, then it's like you can turn around and be like, where are they? And then you can go get them.
Yes. Because insurance wise, when I started, I was on a team that was virtual, and it was just like buy leads, and the leads that they gave us were going nowhere. And I was in California at the time, so I couldn't. But now that I'm here, I've been making the effort, but I'm not connecting with people that are helping. So I'm sitting here going, okay, looking at this from God perspective, I'm like, am I just flat doing the wrong thing? So
Well, if
I'm really trying to.
I can promise you, if you don't know exactly how you help people and why and who they are, that's the problem.
Well,
That is the problem. How does what's your favorite I don't know, place you shop?
I don't have a favorite these days because I don't have the money to go shop, and that's pitiful.
Well, you got to get very decisive in things too, because like I haven't got a clear answer out of you yet either.
Yeah, I hear that. I do hear that. And
Right?
that's been
So,
something that I've been frustrated with
Mark Direct.
myself because I'm like, I'm just swimming.
Successful in his career. When I grow up, I want to be Ron. Ron, what one word problem do you solve, brother?
I want to say self-image or personal worth with people.
Self-worth?
Yeah.
Good. That's good. So if you were to start working on a brand positioning statement on what makes you uniquely qualified to serve people that have that one word problem, you can solve, what might that look like? So this is everybody's homework, right? It's like, guys, we got to be very clear on what one word problem we solve, and then who is that, and how do we do that, right? One leads to the next. So Ron, what's it like, just off the cuff? I don't expect you to have it done today. Just, ramble off a few things.
Well, I guess with personal worth or self-image, I'd help them try to understand who they are in this world and what their position is and how valuable they are to this universe that we live in. We're all kind of connected, so.
Okay. So you're connecting them to a greater calling, a greater good, and then maybe taking whatever it is that they do and saying, now how do you apply that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
The application is everything. I opened up my speech in Vegas I actually had this great keynote that I put together, spent hours on it. And I got there and I got to the event real early and I got to hear like a couple hours, 2-3 hours of what was going on before. And I scratched like the first half of my presentation because I was like, dude, this is awesome. I know exactly where to go with this. Like, I'm just going to pick up right where they left off and go right into it. So I literally nixed like half my thing. First of all, life happens. So you got to be able to do that. Okay. And if you're confident in what you do and how you help people, that becomes a very comfortable situation when that happens. Right. But the first thing that I went in there and did is I looked at all these people in the crowd through the lights because it was hard to see. But like, and I told the story about, my struggle with going to church. We go to church just about every Sunday. I think church is the greatest place to raise children. I think that it's something that very much feeds my wife. It's something that I struggle with because as somebody that wants to be around people that are stronger than I am all the time, I struggle with that in church because I see a lot of the same people out there getting saved every Sunday and then nothing changes in their life until the next Sunday. And a year later, they're in the same spot. So I looked at these people, and it comes down to application. I said, guys, everything you're hearing is freaking awesome. And it's spot on and right. But if you don't do anything with it, where's the value? If you don't take action right now, where's the value? Right? So, like, you're going to hear some good stuff today. The most important part of all this is how you're going to take it and use it today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Because what happens is a lot of times people come to these things and then they don't. And I ask them, what'd you do since last month? Nothing. They're in the exact same spot. And that drives you crazy. I struggle with that. I struggle with people that do that. All right. So I just told you guys something that I paid thousands of dollars for, the brand DNA. I'm going to share my screen again. A month from now, how many of you will have taken action on this and gotten very clear on this? Okay. What it takes is what it takes. Okay. All right. So let me go through a few more things here with you guys. So outside of your brand DNA, second thing we're talking about is the content funnel. Now, everybody here's seen a funnel before, right? Funnel's biggest at the top, smallest at the bottom. This is weird. It's like a funnel with the reflection of a funnel. All right. So why did I put this on here like this? Well, first of all, let's call these weapons of mass distribution. All right. What you create online, you can see you've got Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, WhatsApp, all the RSS feeds for podcasts, everything. What happens is when you start posting on a regular basis, you start to tell a story. People start to get exposed to you. All right. Stranger means they're just aware that you're there. That's what happens when you start creating content. You create awareness that you're there. But based on what they see in that content and how often they see it, begins the discovery process. Now they start to discover what it is that you actually do. And then once they've discovered what it is you actually do, they start to consider, is this the person that I want to solve this problem for me? Okay? Consideration. That's a very important step. As you can see, it starts to demand generation. Okay? From consideration, it goes to conversion. You're going to convert some of those people, not all those people, some. This is a very important thing to measure because how many people became aware of you and how many of them did you actually convert? Right? So in the math equation of what we're doing, that's very important. All right? Once you've got converted people, then this is where the funnel starts to open back up because you start to build a relationship with clients. You start to learn a lot about these people, who they have in their networks, and so on and so forth. And then as you grow a relationship with them, just like any other friend or somebody you have a relationship with, they start to tell people about you. They start to share your stuff. Client relationship turns into client retention, and client retention turns into referrals, which is why that funnel opens back up again. Does that make sense? So again, when you create awareness at the top, well, there's a certain amount of volume that they need to see in frequency before they're no longer aware, before they're aware of somebody else. Does that make sense? Now, what do they need to be aware of? Well, you can start with this. Your personal brand is your reputation online. Okay? So your personal brand is your results times your reach. How good is it? How big is it? Your results is what you've accomplished so far and how many people know about it. So if I'm using Miss Jill, right, she told us some things that we'd never heard before. Those are things that might need to be good content, because if I don't know, I don't know. Right? So if she's accomplished some great things, Ron Creech has accomplished a whole bunch of things. He's 100% qualified to help a whole bunch of people. Everybody on this call is. So why aren't you helping more people in the way you want to help them, just because they don't know that you can help them that way yet? Okay? We're just day trading attention when it comes online. All right? This is a very powerful thing. These numbers are modest, 6 to 8 hours a day. I've said it over and over again. You've all heard me say it. You want to be featured there. Okay? People can't buy from you. You can't help them if they don't know that you're there. Make sense? Customers have to understand who they're doing business with. And then as you start making content, number one is informative marketing. That's information that is easily forgotten. That's where most people start with their content, and it evolves into transformative marketing, which is content that makes people feel a certain way, and they remember that. They don't always remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel. Right? So that's why informative is number one and transformative is number two. They're not ranked in most importance. They're ranked in usually how they start, because anybody can get up there and tell what you do in a really boring way and give a whole bunch of statistics and numbers and stats. But then that turns into why you do it and what drives you to do it. And that makes people feel a certain way, and they remember that. The way that you dress, the way that you look, they remember that. Okay? Let's see here. We're going to spend, are there any questions about the content funnel? Let me go back to there for just a minute. There you go. See how, go ahead.
I got a question. You said something about frequency. What's the frequency as far as like the posting and the sharing and consistency on that? Is there a certain number, or just
more is better? So like, I've got like, this is a pretty cool thing that all the people got at the thing here. So one of the things that Brad said, he said, look, man, and I said this in my keynote, like, look, dude, you can, at the end of the day, it's application that matters. Okay. There's a million ways to do this the right way. Okay. So just like if you score good on a golf course, does it really matter if your swing was technically right? You scored. Okay. So all I can tell you with confidence is what me and all the guys that I'm surrounded with have done. Okay. So whether it's Tony Robbins, Gary V, Bradley, Ryan Pineda, or anybody else that's a thought leader online, they all did it with frequency, with minimum 3 posts per platform per day. All right. 1 a day, we all agree, is like the bare minimum. And think about it this way. Is your message not important enough to put out there every day? Is there not people online today that need to hear your message? Right? If you're not posting it today, can they see it? Will they find it? If you don't show up, did you help your team? Well, it's the same way online. You got to show up online just like you show up for a teammate, for a practice, or for a colleague at work, or whatever it may be. Right? So you can see content leads to attraction, leads to offer, leads to community. When you have a community of people, all with the same values and in alignment with the same things, man, you talk about something, a powerful movement. You know what I'm saying? So what other questions about the content funnel do you guys have? Now, I'm going to show you guys. I can't remember when this picture was taken, but I can reference it for just a second. So right now, my profile, I've made 6,735 posts as of today. So knowing that there's 4 to 5 a day going on there, how long ago would that be? Well, so it's like 25 posts. It's about 2.5 weeks maybe. This picture was taken about 2.5 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago maybe. And right now I'm at 6,000. You guys could look at it yourself on my thing. You can see what posting and how the growth goes. So 6,735 posts today versus 6,704. Back then I had 44,100 followers. Now I have 44,700 followers. So I'll go even a bit further here. Let me pull up Instagram on my browser here, and I'll show you guys what the notifications even look like, because it's pretty powerful. Let's see here. There we go. Logging in. We're going to share screen with Safari. It's making me punch. There we go. Got it. All right, here we go. You guys should be able to see Instagram loading here. Notifications. So you can see all the notifications here, but this is where it gets cool, man. Look at the timestamps on all these. How did that happen, Nick? Well, there was a reel that was doing really, really well. All these, the reason the timestamps are grouped like that is because that's around a post. When I go back and engage with every single comment, that's as far back as it'll let me go. Okay. Very powerful. Very powerful. We'll click on my profile here. I'll even show you something different, because, like, look, man, a lot of people get tied up in the numbers. Dude, like, not all my posts are huge. Look, these are only getting hundreds. But you can see whether I do 1 a day or 5 a day, each post gets the same amount of numbers. So if you do 1 and it gets 500 and you do 5, that's the difference of 500 to 2,500 reached that day. Okay. But as you scroll down, you'll see some of them start to get really, really large. A lot of them depends on the guest on the podcast. There's one 6,300 there, 3,400. Hey, Dale, Avi from June Management's calling me if he reaches out to you. See, that one got 89,000 right there. 5,200. 34K. Another 1,000. And if you look at it from your device, send him the voicemail, and you go to Instagram and you do those things, like, you know, on the grid on the reels on Instagram, you can see the first one's been watched 525,000 times, the next one's 89,000, and the next one behind that is 279,000. And my account reaches on average about 500,000 people to 1 million people every 30 days just on Instagram. That's real numbers, folks. I don't get hung up on, oh man, that one only got 271 plays. I study it, I learn from it, but I don't get hung up on it, you know? So, like, even David Meltzer, the guy's freaking huge. He got hundreds of thousands of audience followers, 330. You know what I mean? Like, we study this stuff, but again, how do you get good at anything? By doing it. See, 279,000. Okay. So what questions do you guys have? Help me out here on the content funnel. We all need to talk to more people. How can you guys, what's your plan on using social to put people into your funnel? What's that? Mike Geo, what you got? You got something for me?
All right, I'll give you something fun. How you go? How you doing? So something I'm trying to do, I am doing really, is so I'm a songwriter, singer-songwriter, Christian music. I started offering people they could fill out a form and put what they need prayer about. Maybe give some details on like as far as like type of song to some extent, and I'm writing like custom short prayer songs for people for free. And then, they give me a code, so it's anonymous. I put it out there. So that's what I'm trying to do to kind of like bring people in. It's doing, for me, it's doing a lot. As far as the amount of followers I have, I'm probably, at a number that's decent for that. I'd like to get it higher, obviously. Although I am, at this pace, I still have about 5 more songs to go, and it seems like people keep adding. But yeah, that's what I'm basically doing, is trying to bring people in. I'm trying to offer them something. I guess my one word, coincidentally, would be like hope for people that are going through mental health issues or grieving and all those things. So yeah, that's what I do. I put it up there. Now, I hope they see it when it goes up, because it is anonymous, and they put a code. I put the code up so they see it. But I really don't have a sure way of knowing if they even see it, because it's anonymous.
Okay. So I'm a big believer in like even when if you go to Kroger, they're going to track everything that you bought. They're going to track everything that you did. And I think it's great you're offering something to get people in. But once they're in, now that you've got their attention, that's when you got to convert. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, I'm a big believer, any piece of content that goes out, there's got to be some ask in it. Whether it's, hey man, if you like what you heard, follow or subscribe for more, if nothing else. I talked to a pastor last week, and he had a great idea. He was like, hey man, what if we just wanted to tell people, anybody that wants us to just pray for them, we would do that. I'm like, then you just have them comment, hey, if you want us to pray for you, just comment prayer. Now you know exactly who is engaged.
Yeah, for some of the people, I kind of can tell who they are, because they commented something that was like, okay, I think it was them. But I guess in that situation, I would love to them put an email, so that I have the email and I have that hooked up in their name, and I can keep track of who they are. But I'm also trying to avoid people not even doing it, because I'll know who they are. And some people, like one guy put that he needed prayer for like porn addiction and lust and everything, and I'm like, a song out of that, and I'm like, well, he obviously doesn't want me to know who he is. Could be someone I know. No idea.
Well, anybody that wants to be anonymous, honestly, man, I don't know how you help anonymous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how you can help somebody that if you really don't know who they are or anything else. You know what I mean? Because I could just close my eyes and I just helped everybody on the earth right now. Did you see that? I just did it. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know what to do with that. So, and you can't market to people that aren't buying. So I can't market steak to, I can't make a steak commercial for vegetarians. You got to market to people that you can help, and everybody else can turn it off. They don't have to watch. Okay, that's one of the biggest mistakes. Most common things I get is, what about the people that don't want to see that much from me? Well, then they can click on follow or whatever you want, but like they're not buying anything anyways. If they're buying enough, you wouldn't be here. So it all comes down to, how's that working for you? Like that's the main question I ask all the time. People will tell me, I'm doing this, and this, and I'm like, how's that working for you? Well, it's not. Got it. So we got to do something else, right? That ain't working. So we got to do something else. We got to do something more. But, you know, I can promise you when, you know, a company advertises on the Super Bowl, they're not doing it saying, I hope those people that don't need to see it don't see it. They spend all that money for the Super Bowl to get as many eyeballs as possible on their stuff. Makes sense? So marketing's offensive. Let's just stay with that. You're on the offense, not the defense. Okay? Perfect.
Makes sense.
All right. Any other questions about the content funnel? And keep this in mind. Not everybody needs what you do right now. The question is when they do need it, will they think of you? That's where the repetition and the frequency comes in. You know what I'm saying? So we'll just use insurance as an easy example because we did it for so long. You know, not everybody's leaving their job today. They might be leaving in 6 months. And when they do, they need to remember to call me. So how's that going to happen? Well, they're going to see me a certain amount of times so that when they have a problem that they know I solve, I'm who they think about. Right? So we're not actually, most of this stuff isn't marketing for people that need it right now. You're marketing for people that are going to need it down the road. You know, if you're marketing for people that need it right now, you probably waited too late to start. Right? And that's real expensive marketing. Okay? We can all agree that when you buy something, like you can only pick 2 out of the 3. It can be fast, it can be good, or it can be cheap. You only pick 2 though. So if it's fast, it's either going to be good but not cheap, or it'll be cheap but not good. You see what I'm saying? So if it's good and it's fast, it ain't going to be cheap. If it's good and it's cheap, it ain't going to be fast. Okay? So that's a very easy way to remember anything that you're doing when you think about it that way, so that you can manage your own expectations on results. Okay? So, you know, if you buy data, which we do a lot of, if you know, the people that see you on your Instagram, how many people that follow you on Instagram right now need exactly what you're doing right now? But they might at some point this year. That's what advertising and marketing is, guys. All right. And that's why when you go fishing, is it bigger to cast a huge net or a little net? What do y'all think? Big net or little net when you go fishing to catch more fish?
Big net.
Big net. That's right. And that's what all these social media platforms are. That's why they're weapons of mass distribution. Mass, not little. Okay? Awesome. With our last 15 minutes, let's see here. The next thing is creating shareable content. So I'm going to go back to my keynote here real quick. I'm going to put a couple things together. So these statistics are extremely old. So I'm gonna pull up the real ones on this one right here. Sit up. There you go. All right. So creating shareable content's the best content. All right. So I've got a post that at the time had been watched 212,000 times, been like 3,585. But the key was it had been shared 8,619 times. Now that post has been shared 20,800 times. That means 20,800 times somebody else shared this to people they were in proximity to for free. The cost of the video. The cost of the team to make the video and post it. All right. And check this out. That thing was shared 8,600 times there and now 20,000 times. At this time, it had been liked 3,500 times. It's been liked 9,800 times now. Okay. And this is the one that went from 212,000 plays to now it's at 525. All right. Now, why is it shareable content? Well, first of all, there's a lot of comments on this. And let me tell you, dude, this would be considered a conflictive post because like all the Karens in the world have been letting me have it on here. It's awesome. Right? And I've actually converted a couple of them. Okay. But they gave dialogue and I gave dialogue back. And if you go to that post, it's the first one on my profile when you go to the reels. It's the first one. You can see all my responses if you'd like. But it is controversial a little bit, like a little bit of a controversial message. Okay. So 3 tips for shareable content. You got to get people's attention right out of the gates. You got to have a strong hook in the beginning. If they give you 3 seconds of their life to finish your clip, they were very generous. You got to capture their attention in the first 3 seconds. That's why, hey guys, here's my 3 tips for buying a house. Works so well. Because they're gonna be like, what are the 3 tips? Okay. Being bold and or controversial. Bold is not necessarily controversial, but they both work. Again, you want people's attention because you can do good things with it. Okay. And then a properly positioned call to action. If they like what they heard and they don't know what to do next to get more, that sucks. Okay. So I believe in having a call to action on every single thing that you put out. Why would you not ask for it? I promise you, you don't get the deal or get the client that you don't ask for. I promise. Okay. So there it is. You have about 1 to 3 seconds to grab somebody's attention online. Controversial and bold, that people respond to those. Literally. Call to action. Dude, you can miss out on hundreds of not thousands of new followers. There's one at the end of every single post that goes out. And I can tell you there's about 3,000 posts that I didn't have a call to action and I didn't have the engagement that I just showed you in those notifications a minute ago. I was putting out a lot of posts and a lot of people saw it and nothing happened. Okay. Bonus tip. Sometimes I will, when a post is doing really, really well, I will go back in later and comment again to other people to turn it back on, to get it flashing in front of people again. Your own comments on your own posts, replying to people, help out with that. It will boost the engagement. See, save this post if you receive value. That's a call to action. One 90 minutes of a content shoot at a studio like the Hit Lab, the raw content alone can give you up to 15 pieces of long form content, 30 pieces of short form, and 25 lifestyle images or really high quality photos. What's 15 plus 30? 45 plus 25, that's 60. That's 60 posts. That's 60 days at one a day right there from one shoot. Now I would say we'll do a shoot again in 30 days and post 2 a day. Okay. But check this out. From let's say you recorded a client phone call that was an hour, or let's say you spoke for an hour to a men's group or a women's group at church or whatever it may be. Let's just say you got 60 seconds of you doing something. 60 minutes, not 60 seconds. Out of that 60 minutes, you got one 60-minute video. You could have 6 10-minute videos or 4 15-minute long videos from that same video, from that same 60 minutes. You can have up to 60 second or 1 minute videos from that 60-minute video. You can create B-roll or scissor reel content, meaning you can just take some of the video back and forth. You can put other images on top of it, on top of your own audio from that video. You can create carousel photo content. Carousel content is where they're like scrolling to the left, scrolling left to get to the other. So it might be a photo that they scroll over to watch the video. You could turn that same 60-second video or 60-minute video into an audio and video podcast episode. You could take the audio from that and turn that into audio only podcast episodes, all from one content shoot. Super simple. right? So the cool thing is like a lot of you have content. It's just what to do with it. What can you make out of it? It's in there. And my advice to you guys would be to take it as far as you can and then hire a team, because man, like the most common objection I get, guys, oh, by the way, anything you do needs to be on purpose. Here's an example of like a calendar. If your goal is to lose weight, you're going to have something to do every day to help you lose weight. And you're going to measure how much weight you lost along the way. It's going to be intentional. So if you make the decision, I'm going to get on board, I'm going to build a brand, and I'm going to do better at posting. I'm going to post all the time so people know I'm serious. I would suggest using a calendar and be intentional about it. Okay? Literally, we've made up holidays in the US for just about anything and everything. There's literally a national holiday almost 365 days a year, if not more. So if you don't know what to post about, you can at least make a Mother's Day post, or a Memorial Day post, or a Flag Day post, or Donut Day post, whatever it may be. Okay? Now, I want to do a fun little exercise with you guys that we did while we were there. So, everybody got a pen and piece of paper handy, maybe? If not, you can type on your phone or something like that on a note. So here's a very simple, easy script. We did this exercise live at the event. Aaron did it on Monday. So this is a great little script for a video that you can insert a call to action at the end. All right, so let's role play a little bit. Y'all want to? So Aaron, can I pick on you?
Yeah.
All right. So what's your category, first of all?
It's men and women 45 and up.
Men and women 45 and up, men and women 45 of 8 years of age and up. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's their wrong action or misconception?
They think they need multiple gym memberships to like,
When the truth is?
they only need one.
All right. So now read that with exactly what you just said. Read the whole thing.
Here's a mistake that men and women 45 and over make all the time. They need to, they think they need to have multiple gym memberships, but in reality, you only need one, and that's with me. Premier
Good.
Performance Training.
And then you could insert a call to action to schedule a call, to book a call with me, or to join. Click this link. See how easy that is? And you can literally make 100 videos with that exact same thing. Now, my advice to you guys would be, when you do that, and by the way, when we did this in Vegas, we literally just set a camera on a tripod, and the guy stood in front of it, and they read a line, looked down, read the next line, looked down, and read the final line, and then it's really easy to edit, and you've got a high quality piece of content. Who else would want to go? Brian Smith, did you do this? You want to do one?
Yep,
All right, what's your category?
I did. Got it right.
Say that again.
I used insurance agents.
Perfect. All right, insurance agents. And what was the wrong misconception?
Misconception is they need to constantly pitch and sell their products to everyone they meet.
But the truth is,
They need to focus more on building relationships, understanding client needs, and providing valuable information.
awesome. Let's read that to everybody.
One common mistake that many insurance agents make is thinking they need to constantly pitch and sell their products to everyone they meet. This approach can often feel pushy and may turn potential clients away. Instead, successful agents focus more on building relationships, understanding client needs, and providing valuable information. This strategy not only helps in establishing trust, but also positions the agent as a helpful advisor rather than just a salesperson.
And your call to action would be to probably join your team.
Yes, sir.
Insurance agent. See how easy that is, guys? Look at there. Boom. Here's a mistake that so-and-so make. That's a very, very good hook in the beginning, right? I'm like, yeah, I bet people do make that mistake. I'm going to listen to the next line, right? They think this. Oh, yeah, I get it. That's your problem, your premise. And then boom, when here's the solution. And then, yeah, if you agree with it, here's what you do next. Something so simple. You guys can have that today. Okay. For an insurance agent, there's so many ways you could go with that. Buying a home, so many ways you could go with that. As a real estate agent, so many ways you could go with that. As an influencer, so many ways you could go with that. Here's a mistake that influencers make all the time. They think they need to post less when reality, they need to share what they do best with more people, right? Like and subscribe for more. So simple. So simple. Right? Everybody got that? You guys write that down? Questions on that? Who else wants to go? Anybody else got one? And you know what else I told the guys, Brian? What did I tell everybody at that event? First thing when I got up there, when I called everybody out about not wanting to go, and they said, "Who wants to go?"
Say that again. I'm sorry. You called everybody out on at the event.
Remember when I was like, I want help from you guys. Like, so I was like, guys, when somebody asks for an audience volunteer in the stands,
yeah, they should be jumping at that opportunity, getting the reps.
That's exactly right. And the reason why is like, good. Look, guys, like if you're like, you can't watch Tiger Woods play golf or give golf lessons to somebody else and get good at golf. And if Tiger Woods stood there and be like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna coach one of you out here for a few swings. Who do you want to go?" Dude, I would be jumping at every opportunity to get coached by Tiger Woods. But most people are like, I don't want to embarrass myself. All right, so you just remember, you're here to help others, but you just made it about you. That's mistake number one of content creators. I just don't know what I should post. Well, you made it about you. I thought you were doing it for other people. I thought you wanted to help other people. So all I heard was I. Right? What if they don't like it, or what if I post too much? Man, this is an offensive game. It's an offensive game. There's a certain amount of people that you got to get in front of, and keep in mind, like, people say this to me. This is one of the most common things people come to me with, is they tell me all the reasons they can't commit to something like this or do this. Right? If that's what you're focused on, all the reasons you can't, nothing's going to change. You got to figure out how. Okay? And at the end of the day, what's your competition doing? You're telling me you can't organically post one a day. Your competition is not only doing one a day, they're putting money behind it and they're boosting it. There's like Brad was telling us at the event on when we were there on Friday, like, how do you compete with a guy that spends 100 grand on ads a week or a month? And he's posting 5 or 6 times a day. The big boys, the most successful companies on earth, they're not trying to save money. They're not trying to say, where can we spend less? They're saying, where can we spend more? How can we spend more? Like, I want to pay more taxes. Why? Because that means I made more money. You want to spend more money on marketing and advertising because that means you're driving in more revenue. You have to think about it like that. Right? You can't get big if you're not thinking big. So, like, at the end of the day, how do you think? Do you actually think small? You know, I can find the silver lining in anything. They say today the younger generation is screwed. They're all weak. They got mental problems, so on and so forth. Well, I'm looking at my son. I'm like, dude, well, it's never going to be easier to win because the playing field is weak. I can find the silver lining in everything. You know what I mean? So who wants to speak up today and tell me all the reasons that you're going to overcome whatever it is, whatever reasons you're telling yourself you can't do something at scale? You came here, which is a great first step, but what are you going to do with it? What are some of the reasons that you will take the necessary next steps to make things happen?
To get to where you are, sir.
Hey man, I'm trying to get where other people are. You know what I'm saying?
I'm chasing you, brother.
Yes,
That's
sir.
fine.
And you know what? I'm attracted. I'm wanting to attract people as well. You know, um, so, but again, it all started we all started at the same place. All of us. Okay, we just started at different times. So I'm just further ahead of Brian. I'm not better. I'm just a little further ahead in the journey. Right? But you got to ask yourself, if this was a race, you know, you can only eventually you do get left behind. You know, just something to consider. Who else? What are some reasons you guys are going to do something at scale like this? And I'm gonna, after we get done with this, I want to show you guys a quick little video, and then we'll wrap.
I mean, I'll say that, I mean, I wrote down a bunch of stuff, so I'm kind of like, I mean, I like making content, so I'm kind of like excited, like now, like going back and seeing like what I can do, maybe reframe some of the stuff I already did into some of these, like in a more shareable way. Yeah, so and I got the content funnel written down. I'm motivated just because this kind of all this information kind of excites me to
Excellent.
step out, you know.
Excellent. Taking action is most of it, you know. Jill, what about you? What are you going to do to get content out at scale? Minimum one a day. What you going to do?
The first thing I need to do is determine what is my focus going to be. Am I going to continue to focus on the insurance? Am I going to focus on something else? Because I've got some other ideas for other things. So I have to make a decision so I'm not trying to put my fingers in too many pies. So I'll determine that, because what you're saying, I'm totally impressed with. I see the value in what you're saying. I get that. I just have to get me to where I feel like, okay, this is it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And while we're doing that, who else wants to go? I want to show you guys something online real quick.
I love this little script that you gave us here.
Yes, sir.
Because every time that Mike spoke or Jill spoke, I could put it in here.
That's right.
There's a mistake that most people make. You know, when they think they should do this, this, and this, when in reality they should focus on one thing. And
That's right. That's right. Something so simple, you know, and that's the thing that guys is like, you know, I said before, we ramble a lot. We're not direct and precise quickly, you know, and like, but the most successful people that we look up to the most, they're the most precise and quickest to the point. And that's why those little scripts are great. But again, like, you know, making content, a lot of it can be scripted. Everything you watch on TV is programmed. It's somebody paid to program that, you know. It was very precise. So this is my website, guys. It's pretty solid. I get a lot of compliments on it. All right. But this brings in less than 1% of the traffic this brings in. The reason is because this hasn't changed in about 9 months. And this will change again in an hour. So once you've gone here, why else would you go again? We put a lot of time and effort into our websites. Put but people only go there once. You know? They're definitely not getting fed any images from here like they are here. Right? So, and by the way, when you have a website, you can come up with a media guide from that, which is basically an abridged version of what we just looked at. And this is what we send to press companies, or when I'm going on a podcast or a keynote or anything else, or somebody that's interested in the keynote, we send them a press kit. Easy stuff. Where'd I learn that from? Nobody taught me. I was interviewing somebody and they sent us a press kit, and I thought, well, dang, that's a good idea. I need one of those. Right? Literally, and you look at theirs, you look at mine, it's pretty similar. Right? Everything I'm telling you today, guys, I'm just going to tell you, I didn't make it up. Somebody else did, a long time ago. Nothing I say is original. I don't think anything you say is original. I think we all heard it from somebody else at some time. It's how we use it. Okay? Anybody else got any feedback before I kind of finish with the video? Instead of when saying I can't, replace can't with how. Turn that statement into a question. And I bet you'll find the answer. Right? There was also a message in a sermon on Sunday that was really good, where you know, everybody knows the story of Noah and the flood. Well, my theology may be a little bit off, but who knows how long Noah had to wait from the first time he got called to build that ark until he used it. Was it 5 years, 10 years, 120 years? And I'm asking you guys for 30 days to put things in perspective. What have you actually done long-term and consistently to make an impact? And I bet everything that you've had the most success in, you did the longest and the most consistent. So if you've had success from anywhere else, it's important. That's what confidence is. It's the memory of previous success. But what's that voice in your head saying? I can't, or this is how. And then when it gets hard, that's when everybody else quits. Are you going to be everybody else? Okay? And it is hard, guys. It's extremely hard. That's why everybody ain't doing it. And that's why when you get it right, it pays big. It is what it is. You know? So life's fair. Everybody's price is just different. What's your price? And are you willing to pay it? That's what it comes down to. I hope that you guys are willing to pay that price to get whatever it is you're called to do. It's worth it. Okay?